Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are digging into a really practical framework for, well, building a successful adult life. Think of it like a blueprint for one of the biggest, most important projects you'll ever take on.
I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? It's something that can feel totally overwhelming, whether you're a young adult just starting out or a parent trying to guide them. You're just left wondering, where do I even begin?
So the blueprint we're looking at today comes from this man, Lane Lasater. He's a retired clinical psychologist who basically took everything he learned, both professionally and personally, and boiled it all down to help people tackle that journey into adulthood with a real sense of purpose.
All right, let's jump right in. Here's the game plan. We're going to start with the main idea, this three-pillar foundation. Then we'll break down each of those pillars, self, work, and relationships. And finally, we'll see how this whole thing isn't just a one-time setup, but a guide for your whole life. So how do we tackle that huge question from the beginning? Well, Lasater gives us this really great way to think about it, using an architectural metaphor. He calls it the life foundation. It's a way to actually visualize the structure that holds up a strong, healthy adult life.
And here it is, in all its beautiful simplicity. The super complex idea of adulthood gets broken down into these three core pillars: yourself, your work, and your relationships. These are the big three, and they all have to work together to keep the whole structure sound.
So to put a finer point on it, the life foundation is basically a set of skills and a level of self-awareness that we're supposed to be building up in our younger years. But, and this is key, it's not something you just finish and walk away from. Nope, these are things we have to keep working on and strengthening our entire lives. Okay, let's dig into our first pillar, the self. You can think of this as the bedrock, you know? It's the absolute core foundation that everything else is built on. It's all about our physical and emotional health. Lasater lays out 5 key jobs here, which he calls self-development tasks, or SDTs. You'll notice the first 2 are about recovery and repair work, if you need it. And then the next 3 are all about proactively building up who you are, how you live, and where you're headed. And this is just so crucial. You can't build a strong house on shaky ground, right? So if your past has left you with challenges like these, the very first step is to get a plan together to heal. And that often means getting some professional help so you can create a stable base to build from. It's a similar idea with the second task, which is all about addressing addictions. Lasater is really clear that a stable life can be seriously undermined by these kinds of challenges. So being able to recognize them and make a plan for recovery is another absolutely critical part of building up that self pillar. All right, next up, we have the work pillar. And this isn't just about punching a clock. It's really about building your ability to find fulfilling work, to be financially independent, and to feel like you're contributing something to the world. The 5 work development tasks here cover the whole spectrum, from practical, on-the-ground skills to the huge decision of what you want to do with your life. And hey, take a look at that last one, manage money. That's its own separate, vital skill. It's a big one. And this slide explains exactly why it's so vital. Being able to support yourself isn't just about paying the rent. It is, as he says, about personal power. It's what gives you the freedom, the real option, to walk away from a bad situation, a toxic job, even a bad relationship if you ever have to. That's huge. And that leads us perfectly into our final structural piece, the relationship pillar. This is all about how we build and sustain healthy, respectful connections with literally everyone in our lives, friends, coworkers, and of course, romantic partners. So these 5 tasks are basically a roadmap to becoming a socially mature person. But what I find really fascinating here is number 3, learn self-reliance. It almost seems out of place in a section on relationships, doesn't it? But it's this powerful idea that the best relationships actually start when you are a whole independent person first. And you know, to make this all feel a lot less intimidating, Lasater shares a bit of his own story. He's very open that this is not a race. He says he had a lot of his own repair work to do through his 20s and didn't really feel like his own foundation was solid until he was 31. It's just such a great reminder that it is never, ever too late to work on your blueprint. Okay, so we've looked at the 3 pillars, but how does it all come together? What's the real takeaway here? How do we actually use this thing in our everyday lives? This is probably the most important idea of all. Building your foundation is not a job you just finish when you're 25 and then you're done. Life is going to happen. Cracks are going to show up. This blueprint is a tool you can use your whole life for constant check-ins and to make repairs when you need to. It's a process, not a destination. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. take a second and look at these three pillars: self, work, and relationships. Which one of those pillars in your own life needs a little bit of attention right now? What's one small thing you could do today to help make your own foundation just a little bit stronger?